Hi Green Canyon, my name is Rachel Webb. I know this week is Hope Week for you guys, so I'd like to share a message of hope with you regarding my own experience with mental illness and suicide awareness. I struggled a lot in high school with depression and anxiety, and it was something I didn't really address because I didn't know it was going on, but I definitely wish I had addressed it. So after high school, I went off to BYU Hawaii for a semester, and things started to get really hard. About a month or two in, crazy things started happening. I noticed I was having major mood swings, and it was something I'd never experienced before. I was scared, I was alone, I was exhausted, and terrified by the suicidal thoughts I was having, and noticed my moods would go from super, super happy and energetic, where I would feel impulsive and crazy, and my heart rate just skyrocketed, and in a matter of seconds, everything would drop, and I was in a very dark and scary place. I started experiencing psychosis, which means I would have dark and scary hallucinations, and I felt like I was constantly stuck in a horror movie, and I had nightmares every night for a few months. So there were days when I would only get about 2 to 3 hours of sleep because I couldn't deal with the nightmares anymore, and then I would go a week where I would stay in bed and sleep all day and all night and forget to eat, forget to really do anything, which was really, really hard for me. So then in December of 2019, after my semester in Hawaii, I came back to Utah to stay at home and was later diagnosed with Rapid Cycling Bipolar Disorder. I was very angry, humiliated, because bipolar disorder has such a negative connotation, and I couldn't even wrap my mind around the idea of that, and I didn't want to tell anybody because I was so embarrassed. I was kind of in denial about it, and so I continued to keep it a secret. And then in March of last year, I had a good friend take his life. And I think that was kind of the last straw for me mentally, and I felt everything inside me just crash and burn. After that, I noticed I was feeling something weird. I'd wish that it was me, and I was jealous and wanted to end my life too. So one night, things got too hard, and I was ready to end my life. I ended up being admitted into a behavioral hospital where I stayed for 2 weeks, and I'm so grateful I did because it saved my life. I came home, started on mood stabilizers, antidepressants, sleeping medication to help with nightmares and hallucinations, and for the first time in a long time, I remembered what it felt like to be okay, and I'm doing so much better. I'm happy. What I want to say is that mental illness is a real thing. It's very real and very scary at times, but I learned it's not something that defines a person. I'm not bipolar. I just have bipolar disorder, and I wasn't crazy. I was just sick. This is something not a lot of people really talk about because it is such a personal thing, but for those of you struggling with your mental health, depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, whatever it might be, whether it was passed on to you genetically, caused by specific situations, I need you guys to know that everything you feel is valid and real. And with that, it's okay to feel depressed or sad even when things are going great. And you should never ever feel bad about it, ever, because it isn't your fault, so please don't beat yourself up about that. But just try and talk to someone about it. You guys are so blessed to have counselors at school, teachers who I know genuinely care about you and want you to succeed, so go talk to someone because this isn't something anybody should ever have to deal with alone. For those of you lacking motivation, happiness, and you just need help, this is not the end. This is not the end of your story, so please hold on to that string of hope that's kept you here this long and find someone to open up to. Now, I want to take a minute to talk about all the ways I've learned to cope with this and really come to terms with what was going on. I'm no expert, but I've been to lots of therapy and want to share my experience with this. Obviously, coping is different for everyone, so some of these things I've tried might not work for everyone, and that's okay, but try to find something. So starting with those of you dealing with anxiety, during panic attacks, I would practice focused deep breaths. That's something we hear a lot, but it's really helped me. I focus on things I can smell, touch, see, and another thing I would do, and still do, I have a little bracelet that holds essential oils, and I put it up to my nose and just breathe to help me calm down. It's important to take all the time you need to calm down and come to a safe, peaceful place in your mind. I've also found some things I love to do. Coloring, playing with Play-Doh to ease your nerves, baking some cookies, putting together a puzzle. Just try to find something that calms you down in the moment. And now I want to move on to depression and how I've been able to cope with that. First off, the most important thing I have to say is that if you ever feel unsafe at all, there are so many people, again, who would drop everything to help you and are there for you. So please reach out to them. When I was at BYU Hawaii, it was hard because I really was alone, so I would call the National Suicide Prevention Line. I called them a lot. I was scared at first, but they give you so many ideas on how to try and ease your mind, and it was very helpful to me. There were some days when I physically just couldn't get myself to do anything, and sometimes that's still the case. So I'll stay at home from school for a day, get some hot chocolate, wrap up in a blanket, get lost in a good book, and sometimes turn on an episode of my favorite TV show and just relax. And when I felt a bit better, I'd go outside. Sometimes it's okay to take a nap too, especially after experiencing lots of anxiety or panic attacks. When you're really depressed, though, just try to remember it's not super healthy or very helpful if you're sitting in bed all day long doing nothing else, based on my experience. But tell yourself that you deserve to have a break because you do. In the end, my heart goes out to all of you experiencing mental illness or mental health downfalls and problems. You are so strong. And I know that because you're here today, and that takes a lot of courage and strength. And so be proud of yourself for the little things because they are big things. And I promise you can heal from this and come back stronger than ever. Your story matters, and it doesn't end here. If you're struggling with that, go talk to someone. I wish I could have heard this from someone else I know to help normalize and validate my feelings. So that's what I want to do, help other people feel and recognize that. Anyway, I hope this helps someone, and I hope this year is better for everyone because I think we all deserve that. But life is good, so just remember that and hold on to the hope because I promise and I know that things will get better.